Mr. Watts, why did you kill your wife and 2 children?
We were there as Chris Watts walked into court just hours ago. He's facing murder charges, and Denver 7 has confirmed he has already admitted that he killed his pregnant wife and their 2 children.
Police say they found Shanann Watts' body. They spent the day searching for the 2 children. The family's friends are stunned.
We love Shanann and those girls so much.
And disgusted.
I'm so sorry that
we defended him.
Right?
Denver 7 starts right now.
And tonight, the makeshift memorial at the Watts family home is growing. Teddy bears, flowers, and handwritten messages from a grief-stricken community.
So many of you have posted your condolences online, saying things like, it breaks my heart. This is so sad and heartbreaking. This is too sad for words.
It's been earth-shattering, and it's been nonstop. And I don't want to say there's no end in sight, but it's certainly ongoing.
And that was Sergeant Ian Albert with the Frederick Police Department describing the emotional impact this case is having on his small town. Thanks for being with us. I'm Teresa Marchetta.
And I'm Tom Mustin, and we've certainly felt the emotions in our newsroom as well. Anger, horror, and most of all, sadness that these lives were cut short so soon. Meanwhile, police have continued their work all day, searching acres of land for the bodies of those 2 little girls. They found Shanann's body this morning in a remote part of southeastern Weld County.
And tonight, our team is covering every aspect of this developing story for you. So let's go to Jennifer Kovaleski first in Frederick. Jen, this case has taken so many twists and turns, even in the last few hours.
Teresa and Tom, at first there was a lot of hope that this family would be found safe. Now there's a lot of anger. And the question we still don't know is why. Let's walk you through the timeline that ended with a husband and father in handcuffs, accused of killing his own family and unborn child.
Trying to pass out flyers? Yeah.
Our agency launched an investigation, conducting interviews, neighborhood canvasses.
On Monday, police say a close family friend first reported Shanann Watts missing after that friend couldn't reach her. Then on Tuesday, K-9 units scoured the neighborhood, desperate for any clues about what happened to Shanann and her 2 young girls, Cece and Bella.
A missing endangered alert was announced on Tuesday afternoon.
That same day,
It wasn't like an argument. We had an emotional conversation, but I'll leave it at that.
her husband Christopher went in front of our cameras.
If they're not safe right now, that's what's tearing me apart. Because if they are safe, they're coming back. But if they're not, this has got to stop. Like, somebody has to come forward.
Wednesday, police were back in the neighborhood talking with neighbors. And then, late Wednesday night, came the news no one wanted to hear.
In the late hours of Wednesday evening, the husband, Chris Watts, was taken into custody and was transported to the Weld County Jail just after 11:30 p.m. last night.
We have been able to recover a body that we're quite certain is Shanann Watts' body.
Still a lot of questions tonight. Now, investigators say they found Shanann's body in an Anadarko oil and gas field. Chris, the husband, worked for that company up until recently. Now, they're focused now on bringing the 2 little girls home, Cece and Bella. They're still searching for their bodies. They want to bring them home so their families can say goodbye. For now, we're live in Weld County. I'm Jennifer Kovaleski for Denver 7.
One of the most disturbing parts of all this. Jen, thank you so much. Well, our Contact 7 investigative team has learned the Watts were dealing with financial troubles. They filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy in 2015, and just this month were set to go to court over some $1,500 in unpaid HOA fees. Family friends told us they were guarded about their financial problems, at least until recently.
We had no idea that they were financially until we spoke with Chris on Monday.
He mentioned putting the house up for sale. Him and Shanann had spoke about doing that.
The Thayer family let Chris Watts stay in their home in the days after Shanann and the girls went missing. Ultimately, they called police after they got the feeling something wasn't right.
He stayed the night at our house across the hall from our 5-year-old.
That'll haunt me.
Denver 7 sat down with a Weld County District Attorney who said Shanann's body was found in an open space field. But he says he's not releasing many details. That's because investigators expect to interview more people over the next few days. He doesn't want details out that could affect what people remember.
The reason we do that is we want those interviews to be based solely upon a witness's memory, what they saw, what they heard, and not what they read on a Facebook post or read about in a newspaper.
And so many of you online have taken interest in our interview with Chris Watts the day before his arrest. In Facebook comments, many of you became armchair psychologists. Folks like Robert saying the look in the man's eyes told everyone what he did. But it's very important for us to say this: Watts is innocent until proven guilty. But we also wanted to take your very valid body language questions to the experts. Denver 7's Liz Gilardi reports.
I just want them back. I just want them to come back.
The interview is chilling to watch. Christopher Watts, the man accused of murdering his pregnant wife and 2 little girls, makes a plea for their safe return.
And if they're not safe right now, that's what's tearing me apart. Somebody has to come forward.
A day after this interview, sources say he confessed to killing his family.
He's doing his best, but he's not getting away with it.
Watch his facial expressions. We showed the video to a body language expert. Here's what she saw.
A lot of happiness and not a lot of emotion.
Tracy Brown says his words and body language do not match what she would expect from a concerned husband and father.
So what we see from him is a lot of concealing, and that we see that with his lips rolling back over his teeth, and the little smiles. He's leaking out happiness over the situation, probably that he thinks he's getting away with it.
And notice how he swayed during the interview. She says it's a sign he wanted to leave. He also crossed his arms tightly, something she says people do when they're trying to comfort themselves.
I think it will help, shed some light on at least what was going through his mind at the time.
Michael Rankin spent his career in the FBI and 2 years as the CBI director. He says the video is difficult to watch, but valuable to investigators.
And they'll compare and contrast that statement with other statements he's made. They'll look for gaps in information.
And we've read through thousands of comments on that interview. A viewer, Lisa, said, "I caught a bad vibe from him watching this." And Scott wrote, "No emotions whatsoever in that interview." And several people also compared him to Scott Peterson, who gave several interviews before he was ultimately convicted of killing his pregnant wife, Lacey. Reporting live in the newsroom, Liz Gilardi, Denver 7.
Now, Chris Watts is back in a courtroom Tuesday. The DA has till Monday night to file first-degree murder charges, and at this point we believe that is just a formality. Law enforcement still working to locate the bodies of his 2 young daughters, and we've learned there will be a vigil at the family's home at 8:30 tomorrow night, but no date for services has been shared.
Now, we know Shannon once worked at Children's Hospital. They told us today that, quote, Shannon is remembered fondly, and we send our thoughts and prayers to her loved ones. Frederick police have promised to release new details on the case at 6:30 as soon as it's available, and we'll let you know then. And make sure you have the free Denver 7 app. We'll send you push alerts as news is happening, as we did last night when we learned that Chris Watts confessed to these killings.